In this video, I'm going to walk you through the process. Once you have run your biomaRt search and you have your unique 8 to 12 IDs, how do you take those IDs and put them into a report that is human readable and tells the story of how those specific genotypes at those specific positions in the human genome will relate to phenotypes? So the first thing we want to do is we want to look at our spreadsheet. You can do this in Excel or in RStudio. And you can look at the data frame and you can look at each of the RS numbers to highlight them and use them as a search term on many of the different databases that are available for genomic information. So SNPedia is often the best place to start. Not all of the SNPs will be listed in SNPedia. Sometimes SNPs have more than one number and only one version is in SNPedia. So we'll try there. And if it shows up, that's great. And if it doesn't show up, then we'll look at a couple of other databases. So I do a search and I see this first one is not available on SNPedia. The other thing to know about SNPedia, it doesn't have all of them. And it also is not going to always tell you the same orientation as the genotype in a 23andMe file. So there's this great explainer. Companies follow their own protocols. For 23andMe, that means they always are using data based on the plus strand. With Promethease, if you have a stabilized orientation that's the minus strand, you'll have a difference. So Promethease will say the risk allele is A, 23andMe will say the genotype is TT, but that person is indeed at increased risk of displaying that phenotype. Whenever you run into a RS number that you can get, you'll see that one thing that's really nice is a lot of the articles actually convert the genotype into a summary. This is essentially what your goal is. So that's why I say start with SNPedia, because then you can say, if you have a CC at this SNP, you have a 1.9x increased risk for coronary artery disease. If it doesn't show up on SNPedia, the next best place to go is Ensembl. So we can do a search and you can see that this first SNP doesn't show up on SNPedia is on Ensembl. And I can click on phenotype data to read a description of what it means. So individuals who have a C or a CC are going to be able to, are going to be more susceptible to mycobacterial diseases. If I click on this link, because the data comes from ClinVar, I can read more about it. I can see like, oh, this is the gene. This ubiquitin-like modifier is the gene that it's in. Synonyms, immunodeficiency 38, mycobacteriosis. So what does that mean more specifically? Well, we can look at the evidence by going back to Ensembl and clicking on citations. So we can say, all right, well, they're making this claim. Where does this claim come from? I want to read more about it so I can write my sentence for the report. So I click on the article, I'll see that this specifically relates to TB, to tuberculosis susceptibility. So individuals who have CC are going to be more susceptible to tuberculosis, and that's what I would say in my summary. The last thing I would try, if you can't find the SNP anywhere else, is searching directly on PubMed Central. And sometimes that's the fastest. You see that when I search the SNP on PubMed Central, I get to the article. Every SNP in your report should have information that is that minimum required that I show in a table in the assignment. So you want to talk about the associated gene, the risk allele if it's known, the minor allele if it's known, the summary of what is the relationship between having that genotype and having the phenotype. And I think all of these can be found either by going to SNPedia or going to Ensembl. The last thing I want to show you on Ensembl that could be really helpful is the information about population genetics. So I can see that ancestral, or the most common allele at this position, is C. I can see the minor allele frequency is 0.41. So that's something that you can report in your table or in your infographic. I can also get that information by clicking on population genetics for any of the SNPs. And one of the things people have done in the past is just used a screenshot of these pie charts. So it's kind of a nice way to display the population genetics and really summarize quickly. So good luck researching all of your SNPs. SNPedia and Ensembl are the best places to start your search, but if all else fails, I would go to PubMed Central to look up the original research that connected your genotype with the phenotype in your biomaRt search.